first ever Purple Tiger Fibers podcast. My name is Shay. I will be your host. I love to knit, I love to sew, I love to do pretty much anything craft related, and I would love to share it with you. So I'm gonna get into, if you can hear little pitter patters, I have a puppy who is in the other room staring at me. Let's get into what I've made so far this year. I just want to preface this by saying that all the things that I have to show you guys, except for one sewing pattern, are all self-drafted, and I am in the process of working on trying to release patterns and become a knitwear designer. I've been knitting since I was about 7, and I have always wanted to share my designs with people. Sorry about the background noise. I live on a busy street, and I thought I was gonna catch the early morning before it started to get busy on my road. However, it appears that I might have missed it slightly. So sorry if that bothers you. I'll try to kind of tone it down in editing. But I want to share with you the first piece that I have, which is what I'm wearing. This is a rough draft. I actually knitted this in some synthetic yarn, just literally some like yarn that I got from Walmart a long time ago. I have a pretty big stash of acrylic and synthetic yarns that I'm trying to work through so that it's not going to waste and I can still have wearable pieces even though they're not higher quality. Was kind of inspired by vintage pieces with this. It has a little bit of a tighter cuff here, and then it kind of has a little bit of a bishop sleeve. I actually wanted it to be more, but I ended up kind of miscounting exactly how many stitches I needed to make that a little bit bigger, which I will probably adjust or at least include an option for a bigger puff sleeve in the actual final draft. But it came out pretty good overall. There's a little bit of a fit issue here where it's kind of a little bit too big. And just for reference, I am petite. I am only 5'1", and I am also short-waisted. So the stuff that I'm making for myself is gonna be a little bit more cropped because I most of the time want it to fit the smallest part of my body, which is right around 11.5, 12 inches is where the smallest part of my body is from my shoulder. So this is my first draft. I am undecided what I'm gonna call it. I think it might be something like the Moon Dusk wrap. I'm not sure yet. And I also have a short sleeve version, which I had worked on and finished. I got some beautiful yarn. I actually wrapped it all up into balls already, so I don't have any like hanks to show you. But it is Rowan, and it is the linen cotton blend. It's 50-50. And I got it for my birthday from my lovely boyfriend. He gifted it to me for my birthday, and I wanted to make something that I could really wear out of it. And so I made another version of this wrap. However, this one is short sleeve because it is a cotton linen blend. I wanted it to be something that I could wear in the warmer months. I live in New England, so it is sort of warm, sort of not. It depends on the year. This year so far, it's been very humid and kind of damp. So it hasn't been great as far as like really wearing nice things for summertime. It's just been kind of miserable so far. I actually am getting away with wearing this sweater this morning because it's the first day we've had in quite a while where it's been like mild enough in the morning that I'm not like feeling gross when I get up. So yay, but this is my first draft for the short sleeve version. This version has a different finish along the neckline. It's just garter stitch. This one I did a rib stitch. And then it's actually constructed pretty much the same way. This one has a little bit of a better fit because I did adjust it already in the sleeve. So the sleeve is a little bit neater as far as how many stitches I picked up. And it is a set-in sleeve design. However, the way that it's knitted, you start at the back, bottom. I knit this all with straight needles, not in the round, but you could knit it in the round if you wanted to. I just didn't want to risk my linen biasing, so I knit it straight. So it starts at the back, and then you knit up, you decrease as you go for the armholes, and then you knit up and around the shoulders. You knit the collar area and the neckline at the same time, and then you pick up stitches along the sleeve here, and then you knit kind of picking up as you go, and then by the time you're done you have a sleeve, and it's all worked kind of kind of like flat, so that the sleeve is kind of like sitting flat, and then all you do is you fold it in half and then you seam it. So it's not terrible for seaming. For those of you who are unfamiliar with seaming, I learned to sew really early in my crafting, so a lot of the garments that I make have that point of reference on how to build your garments. So I'm really happy with how this one came out. I like this one even more than this one, just fit wise, but I really like them both. I think I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of both of them. Next, I have a whole stack here of beautiful things to show you. And again, these are all self-drafted. Some of them are drafted earlier on in the season, and they therefore didn't come out as good as some of the other ones. This one is knit with the Kobu, the Lion brand Kobu, so it's cotton and bamboo. Beautiful drape. Really, really loved working with this. It was really nice and soft on my hands. And this is just your basic double V tank top. I wanted something basic that I could throw on that was gonna have some drape to it to kind of like French tuck in the front of my jeans. And this one, I think it's just really easy. The only detail about it is I did garter stitch along the sides, and this one is also worked straight needles. All of the pieces that I have to show you are all worked straight needles, and I think they're all worked, all the knit pieces are worked bottom up. So what I like to do with these kind of constructions is knit them from the back up, and then the front, and then end at the front. It gives me a better opportunity to work the straps and stuff without all kinds of extra strings. The only time that you have to separate it is for your front and back in this particular case. But this came out really, really nice. It's really soft. I actually really like it for kind of lounging as well. This one does not have a name yet, but I think that this one will be a good one to release for a basic. Next, I have two little kind of crop bralettes. These are made in synthetic yarn because like I said before, I was trying to get rid of some of my synthetic yarns. This one actually has, I have like little handmade tags. This one has the tag in it already. They're just little tiny crop tops, nothing fancy. It's exactly the same pattern as the one I just showed you, except it has ribbing along the bottom, and obviously it is cropped. So these ones are just really great basics. I made them out of too thick of a fabric because they are synthetic for wearing kind of in the summertime. These will do better as kind of base layers probably in the fall and winter for me. So, but I did make two of them, one in black and one in like this sort of like oatmeal-y cream color. Next, I was experimenting with some different yarns for this. This is like really pilly. I washed it one time to try to shrink it a little bit, and it collected all the fuzz in my dryer. So ignore the fuzz. I experiment with lace weight cotton. So this is actually made out of like the cotton that you get at like Joann's or whatever. It's literally like crochet lace. It literally is like $4 for like an entire like spool of it. So I wanted to see if I could do anything interesting with that. And I made this kind of like open, kind of almost fishnetty tank top. I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't worn it, not one time. And it biased pretty hard when I was knitting it, and I knit it flat and it still was biasing. I held it double because the yarn is extremely thin. And you know, I think it was a good experiment, but I'm not really into it. So I did make it though, so I wanted to show you. Next, I have, still got strings in this one. I have another cropped kind of bralette style top. This is knit up with the Peaches and Cream cotton yarn. It's literally like $2 for a ball of it. And I wanted to see if I could make a couple of things with it that were gonna be kind of good basics because the yarn is so inexpensive. I wanted to see if I could make anything like worth it with it. What I did was, the yarn is like a 4-ply. What I actually did was I separated the 4-ply into 2-ply and wound it up that way so that it was even thinner. So this is more of a lace weight. It's 100% cotton, and as you can see, it's kind of misshapen already. By the way, this pattern is going to be called the birch crop, and the actual pattern itself is very cute. It's just I think it's I did 4x4 rib, and it's really, really simple. You can knit this one in the round if you want to. You knit the whole like front and back up till where you need to split for the front, and then I knit the straps free, and then I just tacked them down at the end on the back, so you can adjust your straps. And you could also, and I might include when I release the pattern, you could also do buttons so that it's infinitely adjustable, because cotton does stretch. So overall, not really impressed with the choice of yarn for this, but I do like how the pattern came out. And then lastly, for my knit pieces, I have one more crop. Please ignore the string here. I tucked it in and it came back out. But this has worked with the Trubu. This stuff is so soft. I really, really love how soft this is. And this is just a basic rib crop tank. This is, I did 2x2 ribbing. I had to like double check. This one I did pretty quickly. It took me probably less than 2 days to make this one. And again, it's the same exact design as far as the top goes as the blue one, the blue tank that I showed you earlier. However, it's just ribbed instead. And I obviously knit it shorter to be a crop. Now, this one is exactly the same on the front and the back, so it's super easy, and it makes a really great basic, and it's, like I said, it's really drapey. So this is really, really good for summertime because of the kind of yarn I used. Next, I have a couple of crochet items. These are actually really practical. I have worn them more than I thought I was going to. This one being the long sleeve version, and then I have a short sleeve version. So these are just kind of like a netted kind of over sweater, almost a lace pattern, but not really. This one's more of like I'll show you closer if it'll let me. It's more of like a grid style pattern, and it just has the kind of basic chain stitch along the neckline and the hems and stuff. This is super wearable. I like throwing this over dresses and over tank tops. It's really great for like if you need a layer but you don't really want like something heavy. I really, really like how it came out. And this one does not have a pattern name yet. I need to figure something out. And then lastly, for my finished objects that are made of yarn, I have kind of a short sleeve version. This is actually a different pattern stitch. So this is more of like a rectangle, where that one is more of a square. But this is the same kind of concept. I just wanted to have a short sleeve version, and it's a V-neck. Again, I made it to throw over dresses and tank tops, just so I had like an extra layer. I was imagining that we were gonna have a lovely summer where the days were nice and breezy and the evenings were cool and we could throw on a nice little sweater or whatever to keep you warm. Now, that's not what's been happening. I made this, I wore it one time, and it's been nasty hot since. So yay! But those are all the things that I have made that are made out of yarn. I have a couple of sewing pieces that I have finished, and I'd like to show you those. So onto my sewing projects that are finished. This is a pair, I'll get them right side around. This is a pair of pants that I made out of an old piece of cotton fabric. This was a thrifted fabric. I think it was actually originally just fabric. It didn't seem to have been made up into anything. And I liked the blue color, kind of your coastal grandma kind of vibe. But I used a reproduction 1940s pattern for this, and I don't have the pattern in front of me, but it's an overall pattern, and I actually just made the pants part and just made it a waistband and skipped the like front bib section, and they actually fit really well. They came out very cute and they're nice and comfortable. The only problem is I used a snap here to do my closure, and I should have used hook and eye because the snap keeps coming undone because I got big hips. So I'll have to change that out, but that's an easy change. I have dropped all my things. I have a second pair of pants here. This is a completely self-drafted pair. These are a wide leg, very wide leg, kind of 70s inspired pair of pants. They have the side zip, same as the other style. And these, honestly, this is also thrifted fabric. These, honestly, I have only worn one time around the house since I made them. Not because the fit is bad, but because the fabric is kind of a thinner cotton blend, and I don't have enough like thickness on like the front of my body to where I feel comfortable wearing them. I know that sounds weird, but they need like front pockets or something to kind of, for me to feel comfortable, to kind of draw the attention away from like my midsection, if that makes sense. But they are really flattering along the butt and the hips. So I will be playing around with this drafted pattern and seeing if I can do something to tweak it to kind of make it more wearable for myself. And then lastly, for my finished objects, I have, well, sort of finished. If you look at this, the inside doesn't look very pretty, but I have a dress. This dress is partially drafted using a Simplicity pattern. I will try to leave the name of the pattern down below. It's a vintage pattern from the 90s, so I'm not sure if you'd be able to find it or not, but I can leave it. So the top part is drafted using the pattern, and the bottom is just a basic rectangle gathered skirt. I didn't want to use the version in the actual pattern because it was more of an A-line, and it only wanted me to gather it in the front, which I didn't think was going to be very flattering on me. So I modified it. So this is just your basic kind of empire waist situation. I made this out of a cotton gauze fabric, and it's pretty sheer. Not gonna lie to you, I really love the fabric. However, it was absolutely terrible to work with. It is super frays. It doesn't stay where you put it. It's very thin. I had to take this dress apart 3 times, and I had to eventually double line it with cotton because I double lined the top with the cotton gauze, and it just was not behaving. It was not staying in the right shape. So I finally got fed up and I added cotton to the inside. But the problem with the dress, it came out pretty good, but the problem with the dress is I didn't notice it until it was already finished. This waistband is too high on my body, so it's cutting me in the wrong place. It needs to come down like an inch in order to be like ultimately flattering on me. So I haven't worn it except one time, and I'm debating whether or not I will. I may take it apart and just turn the bottom half into a skirt. We'll see. So that is all I have to show you for all of my finished objects that I have made so far this year. I have a couple of other odds and ends ones that are sort of finished. I have a pair of wide leg linen pants. I have most of a draft for a wrap front dress, but those are still sort of not ready. So I didn't want to include those, but you probably will see them in a future episode. I'll take a sip of my tea. So next I want to show you the whips that I have. I generally have like 2 or 3 on my needles at the same time, and I currently am a primarily straight needle knitter, but I am learning how to do things with the circular needles. I just hadn't had the opportunity. I was taught by my grandmother, and then I was retaught by a lovely older lady from the church that I used to go to when I was a kid, and both ladies had learned, you know, a long time ago how to knit. So they knit on straight needles and not in the round. So I learned how to knit on straight needles. So I have been kind of switching over on some things to circular needles, but I only have 1 pair right now, and they are I think they're 4.5 millimeters, and I've been working with some thicker yarns, so they're not quite right for that. So I am going to show you my works in progress. Gonna start with this one, and please ignore the lawnmower. My neighbors have decided that today is lawnmower day. So this is my first work in progress. I will show you the yarn. This is thrifted yarn, and I really don't remember. They used to have tags on them, and they have come with me from several moves, and I don't have the tags. So I don't know what this is. It's a mystery, but I do know it's some sort of a wool blend, and it's super squishy and soft. It's pretty thick. It's probably like worsted weight would be my guess. I'm not sure, but it's a beautiful like dark green color. I hope it's coming out on camera. But I am going to be making a cropped cardigan out of this, and this is a broken rib with a 2x2 rib at the bottom. It's dark, so it might be hard to see, but so far so good. It's very, very soft. I am like just kind of hoping that the weather just cools down already. I'm so ready for fall, and I know that's so like overdone and cliche to talk about, but I really love fall, and I really love wearing sweaters, obviously, so I can't wait for the weather to kind of cool down a little bit. And then my second whip is actually another version, sort of the wrap top that I have on now. I have used the same kind of block front and back portion. It's gonna be like weird to see because it's kind of wonky. It's not like seamed together or anything. It's the same construction, so you work back and then you work front. The plan for this is going to be that it's going to be a square neck, and it's going to have a button placket down the front, and I am planning on putting a short sleeve like the pink top that I showed you earlier on it, so that you have a sleeve option. I would like to make this kind of multifaceted so that I could make short sleeve option, long sleeve option, and then a tank top option. But I wanted it to have buttons down the front so that it could also be worn open as kind of a summer cardigan. Oh, I didn't tell you what the yarn was, sorry. So the yarn that I used is, again, the Peaches and Cream, but I did not separate the ply this time and make it into a lace weight. I just kept it the weight that it's at, which is, it just says medium weight. So, great. But I am actually really liking how it's working up with this particular one instead of the white. I don't know if it's a difference in like how the fabric dyed, or if it's more or less because I didn't screw with the texture of it as far as the ply goes, but I am actually really liking that. So that is all I have to share with you for my first ever podcast video. I hope it wasn't terrible. I hope you made it to the end, and if you did, thank you. And I hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.